Welcome back, guys. Today we're going over why A2 Heroes is a much better story than Supergirl. This is an article by Rory Mellon on Yahoo Entertainment, and it's called "I'm Not Surprised Supergirl is a $170 million box office bomb. James Gunn got the DCU all wrong from the start." That's true. That's what I've been saying. That's what we've been saying for years. That the people in charge of modern day stories, modern day comics, modern day blockbusters are not equipped for the challenge. They're not ready for their task. They're not trained for the task. Quite frankly, they really shouldn't be doing it. And now, after bomb after bomb after bomb, after failure after failure after failure, they finally hit the critical mass of over $170 billion loss. $170 million loss. So this is vital education for anyone who wants to make money telling stories in the future. So the article goes on. There's really no way to sugarcoat this. Supergirl is a box office bomb, a big one. Reportedly produced for $170 million and with a hefty $120 million spending, as per Variety, it's grossed $107 million worldwide to date. With momentum stalled, it likely won't come close to being profitable. Yep. With momentum stalled, it likely won't come close to being profitable. They spent about $300 million in total, $170 million for the production and $120 million for the marketing. That's a lot. And they only grossed $107 million. They only collected 1/3 of their initial investment back. They didn't even make a multiple of it. Naturally, no movie studio likes taking a loss. However, the complete audience rejection of Supergirl should have alarm bells ringing at Warner Bros. Because this is only the second movie from its rebooted DC universe under the stewardship of James Gunn and Peter Safran. That's true. James Gunn and Peter Safran are the two writers, directors, storytellers in charge of this entire universe, and they're doing a bad job at it. 2 movies into the new connected comic book universe, and the pressure is already mounting. Supergirl's much publicized box office struggles didn't come as a huge surprise to me, in the words of one Haley Williams. "I hate to say I told you so, but I've been unconvinced by the DCU from day one." Gunn's outline for this franchise launched to take on the MCU juggernaut. Granted, an increasingly wounded juggernaut always looked flawed to me. Thank you. I really agree with Haley Williams here, because there's not one movie in the entire DCU canon that I actually like or respect. I can't stand any of them. They're all badly written, badly plotted out, badly acted, badly designed. They're just not good pieces of media on any level. The nerds who like them are wrong. The fans who like them are wrong. Many of them are not good. I like DC. I grew up with DC. Superman, Batman, Justice League, and all that. And the cartoons are infinitely better than any of the movies. The cartoons for DC are infinitely better than any of the movies. So it's just such a shame to see that. It's so important to have good writers. Like, a good writer is worth their weight in gold because they can eliminate a lot of the BS that you would run into. They're like a good judge. And unfortunately, James Gunn and Peter Safran are not it. James Gunn and Peter Safran, we're going to take a deep dive into them later on and learn their history and their past projects and different things they've worked on. And you won't be shocked to find out that they're mediocrity. They're just mediocrity, nothing more. They're mid. So A2 Heroes has actual competent writers, designers, artists, and editors to get it to the finish line and not preach at you while it does so. So just 12 months on from 2025 Superman, set in the scene in a fundamentally solid, if hardly truly spectacular fashion, the future of the DCU already looks in question, and I've got a horrible inkling that things could get a lot worse before they get better, if they ever do at all. First point, wrong movie, wrong time. Wrong movie at the wrong time. I don't think it's an overstatement to say Supergirl was not the movie the DCU needed to follow up Superman. Yeah, personally, I wasn't as hot on David Corn Sweat's first outing as the Man of Steel, as my colleagues and the internet at large. But even I'll admit it was a sound big screen opener for the DCU. The recent follow up, well, Supergirl was a clear misstep. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There was absolutely no reason to follow up Superman, which was just released a year ago, with Supergirl, which was released last month. Absolute poor decision. They should have released something else. Hawkeye, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Teen Titans, Robin, Beast Boy, anything, Starfire. I don't care. I don't care. Slade. Make a movie about Slade. Why did you follow up Superman with Supergirl? They're going to be directly compared. And quite frankly, Supergirl should have shown up in Superman very briefly. Like very briefly as a cameo, flying around the sun far away. And Superman's like, oh, another Krypton. And that would be like our intro to Supergirl. That would be like our first glimpse at her, a little tease for the fans. That's how you do teasing. That's how you do storytelling. That's how you do proper build up and engagement. This movie's critical reception was weak, with 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. Viewers have been kinder, rating it at 75% on the same site, though a far cry from Superman's 90% score. But the telling factor wasn't the opinion of those who saw it, it's how many people didn't turn out for it. Yep, I'm one of them. At present, it's on track to rake in less than a quarter of Superman's $643 million gross. Wow. At present, it's on track to rake in less than a quarter of Superman's $643 million gross. That's phenomenal. I can't believe it. Less than a quarter of their previous movie they made on their next one. Oh, ouch. That's hurt. They didn't set themselves up for success there, and it's because they delved into, like, they had bad storytelling, poor plot construction, terribly uncharming characters, bad incentives and motives, and then on top of all of that, they added modern day politics. So stupid. Following up on the universe establishing into the soups with a movie about his cousin was not the correct play. Gunn and Safran should have prioritized building out its roster with the biggest DC characters in their arsenal. Yeah. I think they should have gone to build on other characters in the DC universe. There should have been other people that they should have pulled on. I would love to see a DC movie about Cheshire Cat. You know? I'd love to see a DC movie about Lady Shiva. Oh, that would be incredible. Pure martial arts on the screen, good hand-to-hand combat, high-level taijutsu, high stakes, high jeopardy, and cool shit. I'd love to see a DC movie about Aquaman, a proper DC movie about Aquaman, where Aquaman is as strong as Superman, because he is. All right? He is actually Earth's mightiest hero. Superman is from outer space. Aquaman is from the bottom of the ocean, where life started. Like, he's the king of the sea. Earth is 70% water. Aquaman is nothing to play at. I know it's funny to say, but Aquaman could and should be a force. And especially with their redefining of the DC universe, they should have taken that opportunity to make him a force, to convert him into a force, to change his image from like a preppy, snooty, upper class kid with no powers who just talks to dolphins for therapy into a badass legionnaire who's like a gladiator of the waves and the oceans and the seas, wielding a mighty trident and like fucking riding tidal waves into battle. Like, he should be a waterbender too. Like, imagine. They should have made a movie about that. I would have loved to see Aquaman in action. That would have been an amazing thing. Cyborg would have been cool as well. Amazing techie guy. They could have made a similar to Tony Stark Iron Man thing. Even though he is different, he's not a genius in technology. He's a former footballer who's now cybernetically enhanced in order to like exaggerate and show his powers. Half man, half machine, all hero all the time. Cyborg is an absolute beast. Imagine if they made a movie about a guy whose arms can turn into laser cannons wherever he goes, wherever he is. That'd have been cool transhumanism content. should have made a movie about Green Arrow or Black Canary or even Raven. Like, Raven should have her own movie. She has so many fans, so many beloved people, so many memories with Raven and the original Teen Titans. She's big enough, strong enough to have her own movie. I really believe that. Raven and Black Canary together. Oh, that would have been amazing. That would have been something really impressive. But no, they chose to follow it up with Supergirl right after Superman, and then they made it super shit as well. Right? DC should have learned from its biggest rival and taken the same tactic Marvel did back in the day, focusing on the A-list, or what A-listers Marvel retained after selling off characters to Fox and Sony in the 90s. Exactly. Marvel made a multi-billion dollar movie enterprise off of their B and C list roster characters. Off of their second rate and third rate characters, off of their minor characters. They literally multiplied money and multiplied millions into the stratosphere by just giving their secondary characters the limelight and the silver screen. Okay? And they gave it all the tender, loving care and attention it needed in order to propel them into success. See, that's what proves that it's not the big name characters that make the big money. Because Marvel just did it with a roster of small name characters. Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, War Machine. Sounds funny to say it now, but all of those are small characters. And Marvel was able to manufacture millions out of it. I think A2 Heroes can do the exact same thing with their small characters, with their small stories, right? Because even though they're still new and no one really knows who they are yet, no one's really familiar with Black Dragon or Pink Firefly yet, just like 10, 20 years ago, no one was familiar with Iron Man, all of that changed at the snap of a finger. All that changed with one good movie. All of that changed just easy peasy. When they made a piece of compelling art that reached millions and touched them, it was irreversible. They were just destined for success and money printing after that. That's why I'm here with A2 Heroes, because I want to really watch an authentic, original, masculine story start from the ground up and propel its way to success. I was here on day one. Like, really cool stuff. And same thing with Iron Man back in the day. I was there on day one because growing up, I always watched Iron Man growing up on the VHSs and stuff with like Stan Lee and Spider-Man and all that. I had the VHSs back in the day. My dad had those, and so we used to pop that in the in the VHS player and watch Iron Man and Tony Stark and War Machine. And so when I came here, not many people knew about Iron Man. When I moved, not many people knew what Iron Man was or who Tony Stark is or what his powers were. And I was shocked. I was shocked and surprised. I'm like, you don't know who Iron Man is? Like, how don't you know who Iron Man is? I've known who Iron Man is since I was a little kid. Like, there's no way. No one knew who Iron Man was. I'll tell other kids my age on the playground and stuff, like, Iron Man. Like, what's that? Is that a Metal Man? Is that Tin Man? Is that the Wizard of Oz? I'm like, no, man. It's Iron Man. It's Tony Stark. People didn't know him. I was one of the few people who knew him, and I remember that time. I remember when I was the one who was the odd one out for knowing who Iron Man was. Now, if you don't know who he is, you're the odd one out. So they could have really done a great job by just making their compelling characters universally appealing as opposed to like cultural checklists and just narrow-minded tropes, just shoving them into narrow-minded tropes. So the next logical step after Superman was a Wonder Woman solo outing, or perhaps even a Batman movie. Exactly. I didn't want to say it, but a Wonder Woman or a Batman movie would be good. I don't want to see a Batman movie again. There's enough of those. Thank you very much. It's good. Batman is one of my favorite heroes. Incredible work. Good stuff with Bruce Wayne. I'm tired of seeing Batman. I don't want to see Batman one more time. It's over. It's over. They've been telling the same story for like 40, 50, 60 years at this point. All right, it's done. Please pack it up, pack it in, and just bounce. If they make a Batman movie, I need them to do it properly and include the entire Bat family in it. Okay, that's the only way they should ever make a Batman movie. They need to include every significant member of the Bat family in that movie and have them operating like a SWAT team. Have them operating like a SWAT team, like a spy service, like a secret service. They should operate out of the Gotham mansion with, Bruce Wayne being the spy master of all of them. Like, I hate to say it, but Batman Beyond had the right idea. Even though they really have to get over Batman because he's an antiquated character. He's old and he's actually a little redundant. He's actually based off of a previous character, I think the Shadow from back in the day. I think he's based on like a vigilante hero who's bringing people to justice. So I'm going to go over that. Batman is actually derivative. But if a Batman movie used to come out, it has to have Batman as an older, rugged, experienced man, as a veteran of the game, as someone who's already been there and done that and has been protecting Gotham for decades. He's not new to this. He's true to this. All right? He's not new to this. He's true to this. And he's someone who can lend a helping hand, lend a helping ear to his proteges. To Nightwing, for example. I want to see Dick Grayson in there, like as the first Robin and the charismatic eldest brother of the group. He really, in my opinion, revolutionary idea here. Dick Grayson should actually take up the mantle of Batman because he's the most worthy. He's the first, he's the best. He's the eldest and most charismatic brother of the group. And I think for the first movie, Batman should be old and shouldn't don his suit until the halfway point, while Dick Grayson and Robin and Oracle and Red Hood and Batgirl, Barbara, all are solving crime around Gotham. Batman should literally just be at home with Oracle, Alfred, and the computer in order to facilitate and coordinate things. And he's killing it. Like, he's killing it from behind the table because he's been in the field before. He knows how it works. He's done it. He says go left, turn left. You go left, you turn left. He says jump up, turn right. You jump up, you turn right. He says cut him off right there. You cut him off right there. He's speaking in their earpiece, giving them direct play-by-play instructions on how they can defeat these villains. And even though they themselves are good as a team by themselves, it'll be a 20, 25, 30% boost when Batman is coaching them in performance and ability. It'll just exponentially increase when Batman is feeding them information and giving them tips, because then that way you show his lethality without having to have him display it himself. You just know he's a lethal killer the way he gives information. You know he's nothing to play with. That's really what should happen. And Nightwing should be in the group. Red Hood should be in the group. Red Robin should be in the group if they can. Robin should be in the group. Batgirl should absolutely be in the group. Absolutely. I don't see why Batgirl shouldn't be. Batwing absolutely should be there. Lucius Fox and Alfred should be good friends who are like retired Secret Service and corporate brothers. Like, it'd be very cool. They'll be the distinguished and elder men of the group. Lucius Fox and Alfred. Like, imagine that. I would love to see them banter and bicker together and then both be distinguished and stuff. Like, maybe they have to drop off a package or pick off a package or something, and they'll just be both playing off of each other in like really smart ways. I would love to see that. That's how you do a proper Batman movie, by giving him the family he lost through the form of Bat descendants. He lost his family and he tried to make one, and the Bat family is what became his family. For a man who always insisted on working alone for so long, he finally learns how to embrace others. That's like the true narrative arc of his character now. But we keep rehashing the same story cycle of I fell in a cave after my parents died, and I had a nightmare about bats and it swarmed all over me, and when I woke up and crawled out of the cave, I was inspired to use the bat to drive fear into the hearts of men. Who's scared of a bat? Who's scared of a bat? I don't know a single person who's scared of a bat. They need to change that up. They really need to change that up. Right? Absolutely. I'd love to see more original storytelling from the Bat family. And it'd be crazy. It's crazy to say, but I'd love to see Batman with either Selena Kyle or Ra's al Ghul's daughter. I think Talia al Ghul. I'd love to see him with either one of them. That would be phenomenal. I think like Catwoman should have her own protege. I think, ironically, I think Lady Shiva should be the antagonist for a Batman movie. She's a woman, she's strong, she's formidable, she's a martial artist. She's like peer to peer with Batman. On the top martial artist list in the DC universe, Lady Shiva is always near the top. Batman is said to be the best in the list in the official rankings, but in the movie we can play with that. We don't have to establish that. Lady Shiva could be a threat, and her proteges could be who the League of Shadows, the Bat family, and the Gotham police are going up against. So like I would love to see something like that. That would be an amazing story that would actually be compelling and original to watch. And you can play off of these characters in cool ways. Right? You can really play off of these characters in amazing ways. So that would be like an amazing Batman movie. I'll go more into that in a different video, but I'll move on to Wonder Woman next. For a Wonder Woman movie, like what would I love to see in a Wonder Woman movie? Like they already made a Wonder Woman movie a couple years ago, and it was pretty good. It was decent. It wasn't bad at all, and I do like it, but they didn't really touch on the true themes and important things that Wonder Woman could have really shown and displayed. I would love if Wonder Woman had been a story that included She-Hulk, Poison Ivy, Hawk Girl, and Black Canary. I would love that. I would love to see Nubia and Black in a Wonder Woman too as well. I would love to see Nubia and the other princesses of Themyscira, her sisters, quote unquote, maybe just her royal sisters or her blood sisters, who knows, actually assist Wonder Woman as a team of badass Themyscirans who are fighting against the forces of evil. So make it like a team of superhero girls who are going out and killing it. Like 3 Themysciran chicks with Wonder Woman being the leader, 3 or 4. And make it like Totally Spies or like Powerpuff Girls or like Charlie's Angels, where each of them has their own thematic expression and their own unique attribute. With Wonder Woman, you can have a cool white girl. With Nubia, you can have a cool black girl. With like Yara Flor, you can have like a cool Latino girl. And they all have their own unique abilities and stuff. And for Wonder Woman's depiction, I like this depiction they have here in the image. This is what I want to see Wonder Woman fight as. This is how I want to see Wonder Woman dressed. I want to see her with plate mail, with breastplate, and I want to see her with the tunic that covers her thighs, almost maybe even reaches her legs, like a classic Greek warrior tunic, something that a hoplite or a Spartan would wear. I want to see her with braces and greaves, right? Braces on her forearms to protect from bullets and blows and dings, and greaves on her feet with her sandal strapped feet. I wish she has that classical antiquity image. Very cool. If you want to be cute, you can add the Hermes wing onto her greaves, the little Hermes wings, to give her a speed boost or to show that she's fast. Right? I like the circlet around her head. I'd love if that circlet could expand and unfold like the Tony Stark Iron Man mask into a cool Phoenician helm. That's what I want to see from my Wonder Woman. I want to see a badass warrior princess who can don the warrior gear at the snap of a finger. And I want to see her alongside her Themysciran sisters slaying and killing shit. Just completely putting the bad guys out of business. That would be a cool, direct story about Wonder Woman. That would be enjoyable. That would be amazing. All right? So, as for Batman, Bruce Wayne is torn between 2 worlds. Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is in production, but exists outside the DCU. and a separate Bat film. The Brave and the Bold has been announced, but is not dated. This will be part of the DCU. A factor that may confuse audiences. Yeah, it will. It will. This is very silly. This is very silly by the DCU, Matt Reeves, and everyone involved, unfortunately. This is just professional negligence. You cannot produce two different Batman movies, one inside your continuous universe and one outside of it, and expect people to buy in. You cannot produce two different Batman movies, one inside your universe, The Brave and the Bold, and one outside your universe, Batman Part 2, and expect people to buy into it. DC is scattered right now. They have no unified direction. They didn't plan the story ahead of time. They didn't actually go to the storyboard and plan it all out step by step. This is why A2 Heroes is much better than DCU and DC Comics, because A2 Heroes plans their stories from beginning to end ahead of time. They don't wing it in any way. They don't make it up as they go along. They don't improvise and innovate. They respect your time. They respect your attention. They respect their audience. All right? Everything in A2 Heroes makes sense. The entire story from beginning to end is already planned out. They've already created the outline and what they're going to be showing. If you just look here, you can see it yourself. On the graphics novel page under their status, it said you can track our progress below, and you can see that under part 1, the adversary, the entire graphic novel for number 1 is already done. The outline and planning, the writing, the storyboard, the artwork, the revisions, and the quality control. All 100% complete. Done and dusted. Graphic novel number 2, same thing. The outline, the planning, the writing, the storyboarding, the artwork, the revisions, and the quality assurance. All 100% complete. Done, dusted, ready to go. And the same thing for graphic novel number 3. All of them are done already. And then graphic novel number 4 is partway to being done, with the outline and planning being almost complete, the writing and storyboard being almost complete, the artwork being complete, and the revisions being like in progress, right? The revisions being in progress, absolutely. So I can't overstate how important it is to actually chart out and plan out your entire story ahead of time, so that you can respect your audience and you don't go into divergent different paths and start overwriting shit and start backtracking and making different worlds and retcons and stuff. In A2 Heroes, the canon is sacrosanct. In A2 Heroes, the canon is sacrosanct. Once a graphic novel is published, the story is canon. The past will never be changed or erased, later via retcons, time travel, multiverses, and so on. Okay, the past will never be changed or erased, later via retcons, time travel, multiverses, and so on. This is literally DCU's second reboot of their cinematic universe, and they're already fucking it up in the second movie. They're already cocking it up. They're already losing millions. They're already enraging fans. They're already pissing people off. They're already dipping into politics. No, they should have kept it simple. They should have kept it simple and committed to a male audience. That's what would have helped them reach success. That's what would have helped take it over the bar. And that's what would have let women love it. That's what ironically would have let women love it. Because when you commit to a male audience and your primary audience who got you there, who are the ones who've been reading the Supergirl comics, buying the Supergirl comics, supporting Supergirl all this time, they're going to preach about it to their family members and their sisters, their daughters, their mothers, their aunts and everything. And they're going to take them to it. You get the original fans to be the ones who advocate and evangelize for your movie. That should be simple. That should be common sense, but it's not. In A2 Heroes, we have a commitment to a male audience. We have a strong commitment to the male audience. These stories, this world, and these characters are 100% written for men. Any complaints or negative comments from women regarding anything related to these stories will be ignored. Women, we love you, but you're not in our target audience, so we don't care what you want. There's plenty of pop culture for you. Go over there. This is for guys. Thank you. And the customer is paramount over all other factors. That's one thing that James Gunn doesn't understand, that Peter Safran doesn't understand, and that the whole DCU leadership doesn't understand. Your customer is worth more than you. You have to serve your customer. You're a business after all. You're a business. You're in the business of service. You have to serve your customer. You can't be proud and arrogant and tell them what they should want. No, you have to give the people what they want so that in exchange, they can give you commercial success. Is that capiche? Is that fair? You have to give the people what they want so that in exchange, they can give you commercial success, what you want. And everyone goes home happy. You give them a movie that makes them feel good, a story that makes them feel awe, and they'll give you their money, they'll give you their support, they'll give you their praise, they'll give you their affection, and they'll give you a chance. But when you don't put the customer as paramount over all of the factors, you get into this position where Supergirl is and where you're losing money, where you're spending close to $300 million on a movie, 170 on production, 120 on marketing, and you're barely scraping in 110 million back. You're barely scraping in a third of your overall investment. You should be multiplying your investment. You're at a fraction of your capital, and you're getting pulled out of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of theaters. I think they've only been pulled out of 1,000 theaters nationwide so far. That's embarrassing within their first couple weeks. So you have to make sure the customer is paramount. If the people don't want it, the people don't watch it, the people don't see it, then they're not going to support you, and you're going to be pulled out of theaters. That's what's going to happen to you. Because no movie theater wants to take up space showing a movie that no one is coming to see, that's not pushing any tickets, that's not pushing any snacks, that's not getting asses in seats, and it's taking up valuable screen time from other projects, like Obsession, right? They'll be like, all right, why don't we just play Obsession in all these empty movie theaters instead of Supergirl? And a movie that cost less than $1 million will blow past it and make over $400 million. Over $400 million. That's what A2 Heroes is for me. A2 Heroes is a comic book series, a story, a narrative that's going to be funded for less than $1 million and make multiple millions of dollars. It won't have a large capital. It won't have a large backend. It won't have large institutional support. It won't have large investors. It won't have any of that. But it's still going to make its money back in multiples because it's a good, timeless story that respects the audience and respects itself, that makes death permanent and knows who it's serving. They have a commitment to their male audience, and they don't switch up on that. The canon is sacrosanct. The canon is sacrosanct. They're going to make sure that the people who love it, who support it, who want it, who read it, who love it, who live it, are going to get rewarded and are going to be catered to and are going to be served. They're going to be paramount over all other factors, over every single thing. You, the customer, are always more important to us than politics, current modern day culture, political correctness, investors, or formats. Our only mission is to make you happy with these stories. Everything else comes second. Thank you. Everything else comes second. As a customer, you're more important than politics. Supergirl didn't do that. You're more important than current modern day culture. Supergirl didn't do that. You're more important than political correctness. Thank you. Supergirl didn't do that. Look at these politicians. Look at all these politicians. What are we being corrected them for? Ew. You're more important to us than investors. We don't care. We don't care about people's money. We don't care about other people's money. We're going to make our own. We don't care about other people's money. We're going to make our own. And because we don't care about other people's money, we're not beholden to their ideals. We're not beholden to their requests. We don't have to take on their taste, their ideology. We don't have to cater to them, because if someone puts $100 million in your pocket to go make a movie, unfortunately they have a right to tell you it's not good enough. They have a right to tell you that because they gave you $100 million. They have the right to say you should change this or swap that. Oh, my niece wants to be an actor, you should put her in, and then you lose your good actor because they just gave you $100 million and they're just asking for a small favor. Most people would do that. Like, it's not a thing that you can avoid. So when you avoid investors entirely, you avoid being beholden to anyone, and you avoid having to compromise your artistic vision and merit. I love and respect Caleb Jones for standing on this and forwarding this notion, because it's so important to be the sole and only person that owns your business, that owns your vision, that owns your mission. That's both true in business and in life. All right. Our only mission is to make you happy with these stories. Everything else comes second. Our only mission, our one and only mission, is to make you happy with these stories. Everything else comes second. They don't want to challenge you. They don't want to educate you. They don't want to shock you. They don't want to woke scold you. They don't want to tell you how you're a bad person. They don't want to evangelize to you. No, they're not interested in that. They want to make you happy with these stories, and everything else comes second to that. That's the way you respect your audience. That's the way you cater to them. That's the way you reward them, because they're buying into it too as well. They're committed to it. They're giving you their cold hard cash. They're giving you their support and their attention, their time, their energy. So you reward them for doing that by making them happy. Look at the people who went to see Supergirl and who drove all the way to the theater, bought the tickets, bought the snacks, sat in the seat, watched it for 2 hours, and came out feeling terrible because they made an investment in it. They made a commitment to it, but they weren't rewarded for it. Right? That's one thing that A2 Heroes is going to avoid. We're not going to do any left-wing wokeism or political correctness. Right? We're not going to do any right-wing or religious preaching. None of that. Like, none of that. I don't want to see right-wing, puritanical, religious preaching in my stories. It's boring. Even though the left wing is also very tacky, boring, lame, and stupid as well, the right wing is also very self-righteous and zealous and not funny. I've never seen a single funny right-winger. I've never seen a single funny right-winger. There isn't one. There can't be one. They're not allowed. Their whole philosophy, worldview, ideology is humorless. They take life too seriously. They don't relax into the flow of things. They just don't. They really just don't. They're humorless, miserable sacks of shit. I just can't stand them. So I don't want any of their ideology, any of their preaching, any of their I don't know, any of their politics in my story, any of the things they do. So just like there's no left-wing preaching, there's no right-wing preaching either. To be fair, he's a minarchist libertarian, and one of these characters is loosely based on him. So I can't promise that every once in a while little libertarianish stuff might not slip out of his mouth. But no one in these stories will preach politics to you, ever. No one in these stories will preach politics to you, ever. We're here to entertain, not lecture. Perfect. Perfect. Well said. I like it when an author has their own perspective, their own philosophy, their own ideology on life, and that influences their artwork, their book, and their direction, and they keep it at that. That's an authentic influence from the author themselves. Like, that's a thing they actually believe. That's something that they're actually presenting with honesty, integrity, and sincerity. So I don't mind that as much. No Mary Sue or girl boss characters. That's a big problem with Supergirl. That's an unfortunately big, huge problem with Supergirl. She's a Mary Sue and girl boss character. There's no two ways about it. We had strong female characters in the 1980s, and they were awesome. We had Princess Leia. We had Sarah Connor. We had Ripley. We had Marion from Raiders, and so on and so forth. There were some strong female characters like those in these stories, but there will never be any Mary Sue or girl boss characters who are amazing at everything, go through no real character growth, and or denigrate men. Thank you. There will never be any Mary Sue or girl boss characters who are amazing at everything, go through no real character growth, and or denigrate men. There just won't be. Like, that stuff is disgusting. That stuff is off-putting. That stuff is nauseating. And that's what Supergirl unfortunately was. It was off-putting, it was disgusting, and it was nauseating because she never had any character growth. She never had any internal change. She never had any metamorphosis, no revelation, no no change in her entire perspective. She started lame, she continued lame, and she ended lame. One thing they could have really done to improve Supergirl was to have given her like-minded companions, was to have made her noble, upstanding, and virtuous. They didn't do that. They made her a drunk alcoholic. Made her a drunk alcoholic slob. Just embarrassing. But she's Supergirl. She's not like, even Selena Kyle wouldn't do that. She's not Catwoman, and Catwoman is human. Like, in my opinion, Supergirl is beyond that. She's above that. She's almost like angelic. She should be the austere image of feminine excellence and levitate above people like Superman does, as opposed to walk among mortals like Batman does. She really should be gracefully gliding through life, being very noble and magnanimous, because she can afford to be. That's the true expression of strength. Being noble and magnanimous because she can afford to be. Nothing can hurt her. Nothing can touch her. She's Supergirl. All right? She's not losing her powers. You can't write a story about a superpowered person and then in that story make them lose their powers. The whole appeal of the story is that they're superpowered. So you got to embrace them having powers. You got to show them having powers. Writers do this because it's hard to write for superpowered individuals and maintain a grounded story. It is. It's very difficult, very challenging to write for superpowered individuals and keep your story grounded and realistic and engaging and fun and stuff. It's not very simple. And so they take away that character's power so that they can put them in situations that their powers would have saved them from in order to produce drama and intrigue and jeopardy. But they're bad writers. They could have done it the other way by heightening the stakes, increasing the complexity, adding more villains, giving them different affiliations and parties and alliances, and using that to introduce complexity into the story, using that to introduce threat and jeopardy into the story, to introduce excitement and engagement into the story, inject some excitement, inject some creativity. So because Supergirl was a Mary Sue and girl boss character, unfortunately, she couldn't survive. She couldn't survive. Everything makes sense. That's one thing I'll come back to later. Let's get back to the article. But like, in modern day genre fiction, fantasy, sci-fi, or horror, it's rife with characters, plots, and settings that make no sense, even within the worlds they present. Even within the worlds they present, it's rife with all of that stuff. And Supergirl is rife with that because it doesn't make sense. This is a result of serving political agendas or corporate checklists rather than the priority of telling rich, consistent stories. Every story, setting, and character in the A2 hero universe makes sense within this world. Thank you. It's internally consistent. There's so many errors with Supergirl, so many plot holes, so many cliches, so many bad tropes. It's not good. It's really not good at all. So, continuing with the article, going to say that as for Batman, Bruce Wayne is torn between two worlds. Matt Reeves, the Batman Part 2 is in production, but exists outside the DCU, and a separate Bat film, The Brave and the Bold, has been announced but not dated. This will be part of the DCU. A factor that may confuse audiences, yeah. Nevertheless, the DCU should be focused on establishing its golden trio first. Exactly. Its golden trio first. Vital. Not to keep taking shots at Supergirl specifically, I'm largely indifferent to the movie, but its overall subpar quality only compounded its issues and made its placement within the nascent superhero franchise look ill-judged. James Gunn's assertion in the spring that audiences don't have superhero fatigue, but rather mediocre movie fatigue, now looks awkwardly prophetic. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Audiences don't have superhero fatigue. They don't. A2 Heroes is going to take off and win. Like, we got superheroes. We got superheroes for days. The audiences are not interested in that. They still went to go see it. They still raked into the theater and talked about it. They were still excited and like waiting with anticipation for its arrival. So they were excited for it. They were waiting for it to be a success. It was just a dud. It was just a failure. That's why they couldn't keep up their excitement. They got there and it all fell apart in front of them. So there is no superhero fatigue. There's just mediocre movie fatigue. It's just mediocre movies. By many accounts, Supergirl was a mediocre movie. Even if Millie Alcock remains a phenomenal casting choice for the eponymous role, and so audiences simply haven't turned out for the movie in theaters. Thank you. I love Millie Alcock. Very cool. Very cool actor. I like that a lot. Furthermore, the nail in the coffin was shot when the news this week that Supergirl will arrive on digital streaming platforms on July 28th, just 32 days after its theatrical release date. Oh no. Oh no. This surrender caused another gun quote to age particularly poorly, after the filmmaker said that future DC movies won't land on streaming as quickly as, quote, Superman, which hit streaming after 35 days. Oh no. Oh no, they're going to streaming. They're going straight to video. That's terrible. After spending $300 million in several years and a lot of labor, after just 32 days, you're going to take your blockbuster production that you've been working on for years and put it directly to video. That's atrocious. That's atrocious, but they deserve it. That's atrocious and sad, but they deserve it. I don't feel bad for them. Not one bit. There's absolutely no one in that entire production circle I feel bad for, because if you're stupid enough to spend money to the tune of millions, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, and don't have the skill, the ability, the foresight, and the judgment to capture your return, then you deserve to lose it. It's just a shame that they have to also take down beloved cultural properties as they do so. I wish our favorite stories and movies and characters didn't have to be a casualty of their hubris. They deserve to lose their money. They deserve their failure. They deserve the low turnout. They didn't do a good job. When you don't do a good job, you don't get good results. The end. If you don't train for the Olympics, you won't win the 100-meter race. The end. You have to be good. And you can't be bad and ask people to accept you as though you're good. That's just arrogance. That's just entitlement. At A2 Heroes, they made the story good from the start. They planned it all out from the start. They created the characters from the start. Like, from the get-go, they ensured that the quality was top-notch. They're not gonna go straight to DVD in 32 days. No, they're not. So clearly, DC Studios is hoping to put the Supergirl fiasco behind them and move on with the new DCU as quickly as possible. But I have my doubts the franchise is set up for long-term success. Running before you can walk. I think that's Dark Knight. Harvey Dent in the hospital bed with Joker. A popular sentiment has spread online in the wakes of Supergirl flaming out at the box office is that Gunn and Safran are green-lighting, quote, Phase 5 projects in Phase 1, end quote. It's a comparison to the MCU that I find alarmingly apt. I'm almost baffled by some of the movies and TV shows in the pipeline while the universe is still taking its first baby steps. Yeah, I definitely have to check that out. I'm going to do another video on this. They're jumping too soon, too far, too fast. They're not ready for that. They're you know what it is. It's so sad. They're envious, jealous, and hurt by the massive cultural and critical success of Marvel Cinematic Universe and the 10-year run, the absolute rip it went on for a decade straight of just printing money after money after money and producing like blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, masterpiece after masterpiece after masterpiece, that they were watching in the shadows as all this was going on, inept and incapable, unable to actually create their own studio, create their own vision, create their own movies, create their own work of art, create their own replica. They were left behind in the race for comic supremacy, and they felt it every day for 10 years. And so now that they get their chance to come back in the limelight, now that the sleeping dragon has faded, the sleeping giant has faded, Marvel has finally run their course. They finally made millions upon millions, billions upon billions, hundreds of millions. They've made superstars and movie artists, and now the tank is empty. They've run out of inspiration. They're getting a little derivative. They're definitely resting on their laurels and not producing good work anymore. Now DC is like, it's my time to shine. I can come out there and show them what I am. I'm going to do exactly what they did in their 10th year, in my first year. Oh, so sad. So sad. They're too ambitious. They're too ambitious. This is what hubris, arrogance, and ignorance looks like, and I don't feel bad for them at all. I don't feel bad for them at all. They didn't earn it. They didn't earn it. Say what you will about Marvel, but back then, their setup and payoff was tight. It was tight. It was phenomenal. The aura and hype they built for every new installment and release of their cinematic universe was biblical. They didn't fuck around. They did it well from the get-go. They had good story discipline, good story structure, compelling narratives, teases at the end, cool little gimmicks, and different things that kept people talking, coming back, rewatching, checking for Easter eggs in between. DC has none of that. They're not planning any mysteries or plot or anything. Right? We often forget that Marvel had a lot of mystery and Easter eggs and things like that that fans could speculate on for years and digest and really nibble on. They always give us a little something. They always give us a little, is that the Mind Stone? Is that Loki's scepter in the background? Who's Thanos? They always give us a little mystery. Like Nick Fury showing up at the end of Iron Man. Like, what the fuck? Who is this guy? They always give us a little something that people could then talk about and go. DC does none of that, but they want all of the attention. They want all of the intrigue on them, but they're not creating any mystery. They want all of the intrigue on them. They want people talking about them. They want blogs talking about them, but they're not artistic enough to create any mystery. They're horrible. On the big screen, next up at bat is Clayface on October 23. An R-rated body horror about Batman's shape-shifting villain of the same name, Clayface. Don't get me wrong, the teaser trailer was excellent and it could be a Joker-style breakout hit. But as the third movie in the DCU, it's a head-scratching choice and seems unlikely to advance the universe's core mythology. Oh lord, that is embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. Clayface? Clayface of all people? Who is that? Like, who is that? I know him, but I don't care. Who the fuck is that? Why'd you bring Clayface out here to talk to me? Wheel him back in. Wheel him back in. I don't want to see his ugly mug. He does not belong in your blockbuster movie lineup for the summer. You absolute dolts. This is an embarrassing decision to make on account of your new rebooted universe. And this is what makes it tragic. This is why I don't feel bad, because they already did something they shouldn't do. They rebooted their universe. They reneged their story after 10 years, right? Mind you, after failing for 10 years, stumbling for 10 years, hobbling along for 10 years to the finish line, they reached there and they said, fuck it, we're going to start all over. We're going to do it right this time. Okay, that's good. You're going to do it right this time. Came out with Superman. All right, that was tight. That was good. I didn't like it. It's not good, but hey, let's give him credit where credit's due. That was good. And then next they came out with Batgirl, with Supergirl, and then after, which was abysmal. And then afterwards they want to come out with Clayface, which is just embarrassing. So after dragging themselves across the finish line after failing for 10 years and then making a critical, like, integrity-less decision to reboot their entire universe, to restart their canon, they don't hold canon as sacrosanct, to do everything from the start so that they can have a blank slate, a fresh new start, no complications, no divergent visions, a straight new plan. They wiped the board and said, let's start all over. They then went and immediately cocked it up again. Immediately within the first 3 movies, they've already ruined the entire appeal of their next 10-year project. That's sad. A2 Heroes is in steady hands. A2 Heroes is in steady hands. Over the next 10 years, they're going to safely guard the appeal of their entire project. It's going to grow year over year over year and double each time. It's going to be something like Invincible. It's going to be something that fans discover and love and cherish and admire and share and spread. And it's going to have a natural, authentic growth where it's slow at the beginning. It just steadily rises and just keeps going. One person hears about it here. Another person hears about it there. Someone suggests it there. Someone does a review here. And all of a sudden, there's this authentic grassroots bubbling around the raw potential of it. And it's It's not politically. It's not politically supported. So it's like it's really off the beaten path. It has a uh, an out group appeal. It has like a badass biker appeal. It's something that is a little naughty. It's like, oh shit, okay, this isn't your cute little comic book. It's not goofy. And like R-rated body horror. R-rated body horror. Okay, these people are silly. These people are silly. They don't understand that making an R-rated movie makes it so that the majority of little kids in your audience can't go see the movie. They don't understand that. They don't understand that making an R-rated movie makes it so that the dad and the mom can't go out for a movie night with a family and bring everyone along. That's so silly. That's so silly. Like, this should be a show. This should be a show on television. Why are they making an R-rated body horror movie? And the second part, body horror. Body horror. Like, what kind of sick and twisted shit is this? This is horrific. Body horror is one of the most grotesque and ugly and unnerving aspects of horror you could possibly bring out. You're gonna bring that out on the silver screen and blow it up in our faces right in front of us? Hell no. I don't want to see some ugly intestinal like BS on my screen. I don't want to see that in the movie theater, and all the sounds and like the yucky shit and like the eyes rolling back in the head and all of that. Like, no. My skin is just crawling thinking of it, man. That's not an experience I'm gonna look back fondly on. And number three, it's an R-rated body horror movie. People aren't gonna want to see it again because they got scared the first time. The reason Avengers did so well, the reason Marvel did so well, is because fans that loved it went to go see it multiple times. They really did. They went to go see it over and over and over again. They put themselves in a position where they went with friends, went with family, recorded it, videoed it, talked about it, went by themselves, went with their girlfriend, went with their boyfriend. Like they went with people because it's a repeatable experience that's fun. It was thematic. And a horror movie, I don't know, you can let me know if I'm wrong, doesn't appeal to the group sense, the group thematic sense. Let me go watch a horror movie with my friends 10 times. Like, what? Who does that? Who does that? Only people who like R-rated body horror do that. That's sick. That's sick and twisted. And I think what they're trying to do with this is try and distance themselves from the Marvel campy, happy, sharp wit, cringy dialogue formula that Marvel reaped massive success on, and they then just poorly adopted in their last run. They're like, okay, we can't just be Marvel. We can't just be happy and campy and have the Marvel dialogue in our movies and try and replicate them in a formulaic one-for-one way. It won't work with Batman. It won't work with Superman. These are grimy motherfuckers, right? They're not quippy cool lads. So they said, let's do the exact opposite. Let's make something that's scary, that's intrinsically terrifying. It's a body horror, and then we're forced to be grim and dark and savage, and that way we're not falling into the whole Marvel thing. Because they did that with like Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad and things. Oh, that was atrocious editing. Using like music soundtracks to introduce your characters. Lord have mercy. That was poor. So naturally, the DCU has a television component as well. There we go. In fact, the first installment in the franchise was the animated Creature Commandos, released on HBO Max in December 2024. Didn't hear about it. The show has been renewed for a second season, so I can only assume the ratings weren't a disaster, And it'll be followed by Lanterns next month on HBO, which has been given a primetime Sunday night slot, suggesting a high degree of faith. Yeah, I'm going to do a review on Lanterns and break down exactly why it's going to be good and why it's going to be bad. I'm not excited for Lanterns. I'm not looking forward to Lanterns, and A2 Heroes is better than Lanterns. There's nothing that Lanterns is offering that A2 Heroes doesn't offer bigger, better, and like badass. It just doesn't happen. Lanterns. Oh. Isn't that the show where like Hal Jordan is literally retiring and taking off his ring in order to bequeath it to like the next person in line, and so you're taking a superhero once again and removing his main power. You're like you're doing a minor race swap in a slick way. You think we don't see you, but we do. You are doing a minor little race swap there. You're being dishonest. You should have made a story about how Jordan, from beginning to end, that's what the Green Lantern movie or TV show or whatever should have been about. Like maybe this is so silly. Maybe he should have been the main lantern in the TV show, and then he has a group of protege lanterns because they're literally space police officers. They're intergalactic defenders, and they work in squadrons and units. And he has a bunch of Green Lantern proteges around him. You know, 2 boys, 2 girls. Like that'd be so cool to watch. And then you could do your sneaking your your diversity and stuff. Like I love diversity. I'm not against it. I'm against the way they do it. So it's always like really political and really like empty and vacuous. They never do it with meaning and substance. So I can't respect that. So yeah, they fell by lanterns. So let's hope Lanterns does well. But my God, I know it won't. Now let's talk about the peacemaker in the room. This television spin-off from Guns' own Suicide Squad movie. It's very much a box office bomb. Another box office bomb, which is part of the now defunct DC Extended Universe, as the DCEU, was ham-fistedly retconned into the DCU in its lukewarm second season. Ham-fistedly retconned. Oh no, not again. They fucking retconned this shit into the DCU using the second season. And not even a good second season at that. A lukewarm second season. Yeah, Lord have mercy. I feel bad for you, John Cena. I got 99 problems, but DCU ain't fucking one. This creates another issue for the DCU. Guns' refusal to wipe the slate clean. Oh. They wipe the slate clean, only to leave a little bit on it. So pathetic. So pathetic. They have no conviction. They have no artistic conviction. They don't have a vision, a direction, and a wrath. They can't write, because when you write, you do have to be merciless sometimes. You do have to commit to a certain story path and see it through. And it can be challenging. It can be something that's not always fun or easy or nice and easy, but it's something you have to do. And to destroy your entire extended cinematic universe of 10 plus movies, majority of which were bombs, and clear the entire slate, only to then start brand new and then reintroduce the things that were on the slate before, is an act of hubris so fucking daft, I can't understand it. You just sabotaged yourself. You cleared the rocky foundation, the unstable foundation, and made sure you could build on flat bed now, only to then go back and build an unstable foundation again. How silly do you have to be? How silly do you have to be? That's embarrassing. For a grown man, that's embarrassing. We're going to talk more about James Gunn. Who is this man? Like, who gave him a pen? Who gave him a job? Who gave him money? Like, why is he here? What is he doing? Cocking shit up, apparently. Ruining movies and studios on cultural properties to the tune of several hundred millions, apparently. Being a poor leader and a poor visionary, apparently. Lord have mercy. Instead of starting wholly fresh, he's retained small components of the DCEU, essentially the parts with his fingerprints on them. How selfish. He's also announced that Viola Davis's Amanda Waller will get her own show, just to muddy the water further, as she's also appeared in 2016's Suicide Squad. So I like Viola Davis. I like Amanda Waller. She's a cool character in the DC universe. And she has a certain niche and a certain place or role that she plays in it. But because I can't see who her antagonist would be, who her big bad would be, who she'd be fighting against, I don't understand what the appeal of following her story would be. Usually we follow a story in order to see how characters play off against each other and the dynamics that get produced between them. That's called drama, right? We want to see all the different elements of people's personality and eccentricities playing off against each other, and their values and their goals coming into conflict, and the drama it produces. We want to see that. But who does Amanda Waller have drama with? Who does she have energy for? Like, what does she do? She works for the government. She works for the government. She's a high-ranking government official and leader. Like, in my opinion, she could lead a spy squad. She could be a spy master. She's a bureaucrat with distaste for conventional crime fighting. Employs more hardline methods. She's an expert tactician and political operator. All right. The character serves as both an ally and an antagonist to the superheroes of the world. Okay. Okay, so she could kind of be like the government agent guy from Invincible. Like, I kind of like that. She could be like Cecile Stedman, who's like a government operative, high-ranking bureaucrat who has no superpowers themselves, but is incredibly formidable because of their political position and their maneuvering and know-how. So, like, I like that, but I'll have to see more. I'll have to see a bit more before I know what that's going to be about. But unfortunately, it's going to be problematic. And James Gunn only kept the parts of the DCEU that had his fingerprints on them, that he contributed to, that he was part of. So he doesn't have the bravery to adopt other people's artistic vision. Like, he's in the leadership position and he scrapped everything. He wasn't fair to other people. He retained his stuff, and trying to hate, his stuff is not good. His stuff is not good. So he retained stuff that wasn't good just because it was his. That's selfish. If you're gonna scrap everyone else's stuff, you have to scrap your stuff too. No integrity, completely dishonest. So the Hollywood grapevine indicates that shows based on Jimmy Olsen, Mr. Terrific, and Gorilla Grodd are in the works alongside movies centered on Swamp Thing. Oh, Lord. Swamp Thing? You're making a Shrek movie now? The fuck is this? Teen Titans and a Bane/Deathstroke team-up flick. Okay, thank you. That's good. That's good. That's what I want to see. Bane and Deathstroke. And it's here that you get a distinctive whiff of MCU Phase 5 about the new DCU. Yeah, we're gonna blow them out the water. These people don't know what they're doing. They won't see us coming. We're gonna take them by storm. All your fans were coming for them. All your readers, all your audience were coming for them because we're making better stories that give the people what they want. You're jumping all over the place, making movies like Gorilla Grodd, Swamp Thing, Mr. Terrific. Like, all those names sound lame. There's nothing about them that makes me think I should go and watch them. Teen Titans is the only one that sounds good, and it's doing what? It's floating off of the goodwill of a cartoon that's over 20 years old. What are we doing here? The only reason people see Teen Titans and like it is because of the animated cartoon they watched when they were kids. Let's not play now. The best part of DC, is the animated cartoons. I've said it before. People need to get that, and they've been making movies for over 20 years now, and they still haven't made a good movie. Not one DC movie in the entire history of the DCEU, or the now DCU, is good. Anyone who gave them high ratings in the past was wrong. I'm not taking any questions on this. I'm not taking arguments. Accept it. Man of Steel was a bad movie. I didn't like it. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice was a bad movie. Martha, we didn't like it. Suicide Squad was a bad movie. Terrible editing, atrocious editing, bad taste, horrible. The movie's called Suicide Squad. Is that an order? It makes you want to kill yourself when you watch it. Wonder Woman was a bad movie. Lord have mercy. Diana fighting Ares and coming into the world of man and discovering and learning about it. I'm sorry, no, that was bad. They needed Hawkgirl in that movie. That would have been a cool movie to introduce Hawkgirl in as a side character, as a enemy or rival to the Themyscirans. Like, it was a woman-focused movie too as well, so that would have been a cool woman, female character to have. That would have been a cool woman to have force and presence in the plot. Justice League was a bad movie. Justice League was a terrible movie. They should never have made that. Shit. Cyborg was bad. Aquaman was bad. Wonder Woman was bad, and Flash was atrocious. That man is a criminal. That man is a fucking criminal. Lock him up, please. Just a bad production. All of these, by the way, cost several hundred millions of dollars to make, guys. Every single one of these cost they it cost them more money to make these than you and your descendants and your family will ever make in your entire life. Can we stop being fair and like balanced and oh they're trying their best and give them some time? They're spending the fortune of nations to produce mediocrity, to produce mid. They're spending the fortune of nations. Kings would cry at the wealth that they're burning. It's unacceptable. Number 6, Aquaman. Aquaman is a bad movie. I'm sorry, I love you, Jason Momoa, but that is not a good story. It's not a good story. Shazam, Lord have mercy. Shazam is just a bad hero. Overall, I don't like him. Switches, turns into a boy and a man, and like he has new powers. He feels like discount Superman to me. I know he's from like the golden age, and like that sort of campy style was hot back then, but it just doesn't translate well into the modern age, unfortunately. Wonder Woman 1984. Not excellent. Not excellent. They done made 2 Wonder Woman movies by this point. The Batman with Robert Pattinson. So like that one was good. It was technically good. It was good, but it's a movie about the origin stories of Bruce Wayne in Gotham. They've done that 1,000 times. It better be good. There's so many TV shows, movies, cartoons, and comic books about it. You had so much source material to draw on, and that's what I want. Please draw on the source material. Like you see, if you go down the beaten path, you make money. If you just do what's written on the page, you'll make money. So they had to have a success with the Batman because they just followed the script entirely. Batgirl, we're not even gonna talk about that. The Flash, I don't like Flash as a hero. I don't like him. That's not a good power to have. That's too lame. You can locomote at high speeds. That doesn't even make sense. It has no appeal. I used to like it as a kid, but now that I'm grown up, it's one of those unrealistic lame powers. Like your legs look goofy. Stop it. So yeah, like all the DCEU movies and all the different things, Birds of Prey, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Black Adam. Oh no, Black Adam. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. We need to get this guy out of here. Absolute lame-o. Walking cringe. Blue Beetle. Oh no. Like just derivative, ugly, reckless stuff. I don't like it. Ends the article by saying, it's as if the franchise is trying to run before it can walk. Greenlighting projects focusing on side characters and D-list heroes before it's even got its most iconic players on the board. Thank you. They're literally trying to run before they can walk. They're greenlighting projects and focusing on side characters and D-list heroes before it's even got its most iconic players on the board. There's a reason that Agatha all along, Thunderbolt and Echo didn't come in Marvel's initial phase. Thank you. There's a big reason for that, and they're going to learn that the hard way. They're going to learn that by losing millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, more money than you yourself will ever make in your entire life, and they'll still go and do it again. So that's why I don't feel bad. They're wasting people's time, effort, money, creative talent, life. They're wasting our attention and our focus. I want to give my attention and my focus to stories that matter, stories that reward me, stories that cater to me, stories that respect me, stories that are planned out, stories that are organized, stories that are good. I want to give my time and my effort and energy to stories that are well designed, narratives that are mature and sensible, that aren't like, just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean you have to be cartoonish about it. Make a good fucking story that stands the test of time. Guys, make a good fucking story that stands the test of time, because people shouldn't accept a story that's less than a masterpiece. I disagree with accepting damaged stories. That's wrong. That's wrong. There's no one alive in the modern world that should accept a story that's less than perfect. Because as kids in high school, we were brought up on Shakespeare. We were brought up on some of the highest levels of art in the English language for hundreds and hundreds of years. We're familiar with masterpieces from a young age. We're accustomed to them. They're things that were in our diet, in our bread and butter growing up. It's normal for us to read masterpieces. We were told to for class. So if we're already familiar with some of the greatest writers in the English language, and we're still kids, we're still youngsters, we're still teenagers in a young age, then how much more should we be ready for talent and ability and good writing when we're adults? And how much more should we be deserving of talent and ability and good writing when we're adults? We're already getting masterpieces when we're kids. So instead of MCU focusing on its core players, Avengers, and then started to expand the universe from out there. All right. Instead, the MCU focused on its core players, brought them together for 2012's Avengers, and then started to expand the universe from out there. Focus on your core players. Start with 4 or 5 players. Converge them all into one spot. Give them each a movie that converges into one movie at the top. Boom, make that movie, and then spread out again into 5 other movies. The DCU wants to skip that building step, desperate to fast track viewers towards the same universe fatigue Marvel is grappling with now. Oh, Lord. Oh, no. They're literally replicating all the bad parts of Marvel and none of the good parts. They have no talent. They're all hacks. I'm not being insulting. Let's just call a spade. And I'm not mad. I think a lot of nerds on the internet are mad. They're angry. They're frothing at their mouth. How could they? How could they? They ruined my childhood. Sit down, son. Sit down. They didn't ruin shit. Your childhood is still there. You can still go read the comic books and watch the TV shows that you love. They're under no obligation to keep up with the golden age that you grew up in. See, the sad thing about the good times is that you don't know that they're good times while you're there. Those were the good times. The sad thing about the golden age is that you don't know you're in the golden age when you're going through it, when you're there. That was the golden age. Now we're in the silver age, the bronze age, the tin age, the copper age. That's the age we're in right now. So they literally should have just focused on Superman movie, Batman movie, Wonder Woman movie, Flash movie, as much as I hate him, Hal Jordan movie. All right. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And my opinion is that Superman and Aquaman should show up in the same movie together. That's the way to do it. You can't make a Superman movie without Aquaman, because Aquaman can't stand on his own and Superman is too strong. You need Superman there in order to level up Aquaman with his presence. You need Superman there in order to level up Aquaman with his presence. And I want Superman and Aquaman to fight in that movie, because Aquaman is super strong. He can withstand incredible tidal forces and deep ocean pressures and outer space and breathe underwater. Superman is the only person who can fight Aquaman underwater. He's the only person. I think Superman should have a massive advantage when they're in the sky. They should both have an equal advantage when they're on the ground, and Aquaman should have a massive advantage when he's in the ocean. That's how that should play out. And you should have you can really retcon Superman if you want to. If you really want to retcon Superman because you're restarting, you're redoing it all, getting it all started, you could have it that Superman and Aquaman either know each other from a long time or are enemies from a long time. They're recurrent enemies. And when Superman crash landed on Earth from Krypton, he fell into the sea first. He fell into the ocean because most of Earth is water. 70% of Earth is water. So a stray tiny capsule coming from hundreds of millions of light years away, traveling through space, would be more likely to hit the massive piece of water around Earth as it circumnavigated the sun, as opposed to a tiny little farmland in Kansas. It's much likelier Superman lands in the water from Earth. And as a result of landing in the water, and he sinks into the ocean, and his capsule, being high-tech Kryptonian sci-fi, is able to withstand Earth's ocean. This is not Ocean Gate here. We got a good submarine. And so in sinking into the ocean, it cools off after entering the atmosphere by plunging into the ocean and sinking to the bottom for like 30 days and 30 nights or something like that. And that's when the Atlanteans get a notice, get an alert of a foreign object, get a warning of something that came from outer space, and they go there to see the site, but unsure of what it is and what the intentions are, and if it's a dangerous thing, they leave it alone and just merely watch it, just watch and observe it. Maybe one of them at some point even tries to get close and touch it, but the shell like zaps them, gives them a little warning zap, stay away. And so they just form a perimeter around it. And this is where like the first overlap, like Aquaman's father and stuff, he sees that Aquaman is still like a young lad. He's still a baby here too as well. Maybe he is born, but he's like a young kid, so he sees it. And then after sitting there for several weeks, he himself wonders what that thing is. His dad is curious. Everyone's curious. The whole kingdom, the whole Atlanteans are like, what is going on here? What is this thing? The capsule then springs up to life all of a sudden and shoots out of the ocean after levitating and sails to land, coursing through, charting his own course through the waves, almost like it has its own mind. This entire time keeping a little baby Superman in there. At some point, the glass even clears, and the Atlanteans see that there's a little baby in there. Like, they're like, what? This thing has a baby? They thought it was a weapon at first. They thought it was like a dangerous monster. They see like it's a little kid. They're like, what? They're so shocked. They're in a dilemma. They try and help the little kid and want to get him out, but they realize that if they open the capsule, that they'll let the water in. And so they're shocked. They're like, if we open it up and try and get there, not only will the capsule attack us, but we'll also submerge this baby in water. And he can't breathe like us. We don't know if he can breathe like us. We don't know what he is or where he came from. We have no idea. So they just safely left the baby in there for all that time. And Aquaman saw Superman when he was still young and a baby and stuff. And that's where he formed a memory of him before the capsule then zooms off and breaks for land, where it then like rolls up on the shore or shoots back up into the air after its long trip, after recharging from all those, all those leagues across vast oceans of space. After doing that, it recharges for like 100 days or 200 days or whatever, and it shoots back up out of the water, and then lands on Ma and Pa Kent's farm, and they then take it out, and then they raise Superman. And so later on in the story, as Superman grows up with them and is adopted by them and has morals and values instilled into him by them, he himself starts growing his power like Goku and has to level up to different power levels and power ranges in order to be there. He already starts off hardy and strong, but he has to increase in power like the Hulk or Goku. And so as a result, there can be some drama and dynamic tension there with that idea. I would love that. And Aquaman 2 as well is training underwater, fortified by the pressures of the waves and stuff like that. And he would also have that drama and tension building up, that ability. And one day they would meet, either at land or at sea. At sea when Superman's flying over or delving deep into it. And they would have a nice fight, kind of like Iron Man and Thor. That was so cool. They'll be battling off of each other, and Aquaman would be Earth's mightiest hero. Superman would be like the alien rogue. Aquaman would be like, what are you doing on my planet? Literally, me and my people have been here for years. Where'd you come from? Superman's like, I don't know. I've grown up here my entire life. Who the hell are you, Aquaman? If there's sea monsters attacking like the cities and stuff like that, and Superman has to defeat them. He eventually finds out it's Aquaman that's sending them, so they have a little beef. I would love a story that actually dynamically plays off of Aquaman and Superman, because they are in the same league for superhuman feats and strength and things like that, and they would actually be able to play off one another in a cool way because they're both equally strong. That would be a cool Superman movie right there. Original, fresh, and nice. Original, fresh, and nice. And the next movie that the DCU should have done, the next one they should have made was Batman. They should have made the Batman movie. Batman and Dick Grayson should have been together. Batman, Dick Grayson, and Damian Wayne. And they should have made a crime family drama, like a mafioso family thing. Oh, that'd be so cool. All of them are in suits with Batman sitting on like the chair in front of his entire family, and Alfred right beside him with like a silver dish. Oof. And his children behind him, his progeny, his empire, his dynasty. It's literally what they should call it, dynasty, Gotham's dynasty. And his other rich families and stuff. Wonder Woman movie should have had not just Aquaman, it should have had Aquaman, yes, because that's also another realm. Atlantis and Themyscira, they're alternate realms and planes and that connect with Earth. Wonder Woman should also have had Hawkgirl too as well. I'd have loved to see Hawkgirl and Wonder Woman. Quite frankly, I think The Flash is too silly to have his own standalone movie. I don't respect him at all. I don't like Ezra Miller. I don't like the character. I don't like his power. I don't like his abilities. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his face. But I won't let that stop me from respecting him as a work of art. Okay? I think the solution to The Flash should be putting The Flash in every single DC movie. The first 4-5 movies. Supposed to make it a standalone Flash movie about how he got his powers and stuff like that, and going into that backstory and what he now has to do and the villain he has to fight. No, instead have the Flash show up in other people's stories because he's super fast and just blitz through shit, help them out, cause problems, or like run around, you know? He's just a Flash, like real quick. And so he shows up in Superman and Aquaman's movie, and he's running on the water while they're fighting, and they just look at him like, what the hell, who's this? Who's this fella? She showed up here in Batman and Nightwing's movie, Robin's movie. He starts running laps around Gotham, just tripping off alarms and setting shit off, and Batman's like, what the hell's going on? Who's this? Like a mystery. Shows up in Wonder Woman's movie. Alright, she shows up in Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl's movie. That'd be so cool. And he can enter the realm of like Themyscira and enter the realm of Atlantis due to like his speed, force, ability. He can like course through that. That's really cool. That's really cool. I love to see that take on the Flash, and he's powerful in his own way. And then Hal Jordan, a Green Lantern movie. They really need to make a good Green Lantern movie where they put him in the spotlight, give him the powerful ring, and have him go not just against big bad monsters, but against other lantern ringed alliances. The Blue Lanterns, the Purple Lanterns, the Red Lanterns, all of them have their own corps. You should have a couple other characters from those corps show up in his movie to prove and show that he's not the only one with this power. They all have their own flavor of the emotional spectrum. I think Green Lantern is Will. Right? That would be amazing. You can have all these characters play off against each other, and they'll kind of be like Power Rangers because they all have their own unique color. They can all suit up. They can all morph. They can all wield cool weapons in different ways. That's the way to make a Green Lantern movie, is to include the other schools, the other corps in a cool way, and show them solving intergalactic crime. They're an intergalactic crime force. So it could be like Men in Black, where they have secret headquarters and secret weapons and cool things. Like the ring could be a major tool, but they could have a whole hidden bureaucracy behind the scene where they like safeguard aliens or like capture them or like return them to like their proper place, or like they stop smuggling between realms and stuff like that. That would be what I would love to see. I would love to see a Men in Black inspired Green Lantern movie, Green Lantern take with a different corps and rivaling against one another as the Green Lantern Corps acts as intergalactic defenders trying to solve crime. Like, just with that alone, I've already made several compelling adaptations to the DCU that would actually draw fans in and keep people excited. All right. Instead, the MCU focused on its core players, brought them together for the 2012's Avengers, and it started to expand the universe out from there. The DCU seems to want to skip that step, desperate to fast track viewers towards the same universe fatigue Marvel is currently grappling with. Yeah, maybe these projects would be excellent. Perhaps several won't come to fruition. I'd say that's likely high. But all the signs point to a DC universe that is failing to build a foundation of goodwill before overloading viewers with an abundance of shows and movies hooked on lesser players. The future hangs in the balance. Yeah. In the wake of Supergirl, DCU badly needs a win. With Clayface feeling more of an experimental offshoot, I think it comes down to two key upcoming projects: Lanterns and Man of Tomorrow. The former, it's Lanterns, will introduce the Green Lantern Corps with Kyle Chandler playing Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as John Stewart. Okay, I like that. That's really cool. Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre. I like that. That's nice. I've got a good feeling about this one. As noted, it's been given a prime Sunday night slot on HBO and isn't being dumped straight onto HBO Max. Wow. Plus, there's no way it can be worse than the infamous Ryan Reynolds Green Lanterns film. Yeah, that's good. Good riddance. It's a good bet to make. On the big screen, Man of Tomorrow flies into theaters next summer, reuniting Corin Sweat's Clark Kent with Rachel Brunzett's Lois Lane, Nicholas Holst's Lex Luthor, and yes, Alcock's Zara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. I like that name, Zara Zor-El. If this Superman sequel can recapture some of its predecessor's popularity, it could stabilize the franchise and claw back general audience interest. Yeah, but it won't. I don't even have to wait to see it. I already know. Because they're going to have to redo the story based on the poor performance of Supergirl right now. And that's going to cause adaptational issues that'll transfer over to the release. That's going to cause adaptational issues that's going to transfer over into the release. Plot holes and film schedules and competing actor contracts and a unified theme and tone. Like, they don't know where they're going next, and so the fact that they have to adapt on the fly means that they're gonna make the wrong move. They're gonna put themselves in the wrong position. All right. Nevertheless, only a handful of movies and shows into its existence, the DCU looks in a very precarious position, and I can't help but feel the seeds of potential failure were sown from the very start when the creatives involved neglected to establish a solid foundation before taking riskier swings. Thank you. The seeds of potential failure were shown from the very start when the creatives involved. Blaming the creatives, you should blame the executives. Let's be real here, come on. When the creatives involved neglected to establish a solid foundation before taking riskier swings. Thank you. Thank you. They didn't plan their story out. They didn't plot it out. They didn't design it. They winged it. A narrative is something that is highly complex and needs to be designed. It needs to be designed ahead of time. Everything is planned ahead of time. Everything makes sense ahead of time. That's what A2 Heroes is offering. That's why Supergirl really failed. That's why it didn't do well, because it didn't plan it out ahead of time. So now it doesn't make sense. Now it doesn't add up. Now it doesn't work. All right? At A2 Heroes, everything makes sense. Modern day genre fiction has fantasy, sci-fi, and horror. Is rife with characters, plots, and settings that make no sense, even within the worlds they present. Even within the world of Supergirl, the story didn't make sense. Supergirl didn't make sense. Why did her dog get injected by a poison that the villain had the serum for? Like, what is going on there? That makes no sense. Why do you ever see the poison and the serum together on the same bad guy when it's a weapon? This is the result of serving political agendas or corporate checklists rather than the priority of telling rich, consistent stories. Thank you. They serve their political agenda. They hit all their corporate checklists. Good for them. And they, guys, keep in mind, they get to do this while raking in millions a year on a corporate salary. Millions a year, or hundreds of thousands a year, I should say. Like the executives and like people, no, they make millions. Let's be real. They're shareholders of these companies and things like that. They're in the millionaire class. Like, we can't even lie. They're for the privilege of destroying celebrated cultural icons and comic book characters. They get to do it while making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars a year and not bat an eye, while you have to go into work every day and struggle just to get by. This is why I don't forgive them. True art needs to be done properly, and they're not doing it properly. They're not up to the task. They're not ready for their challenge. They're not built for the game. We are. That's why nerds and people who like stories need to stop whining, whinging, and complaining about every bad movie that Hollywood makes and start getting after it themselves. If you know how to do it so much better, if you're going to complain and bicker so much better, then why don't you do it yourself? So that's what A2 Heroes is about. It's about doing it yourself. It's about writing a story that people actually enjoy and love for the merit of the story itself and the artistic vision, and not the political corporate checklists and political side swipes. No. Supergirl fell victim to that, and it paid the price for it. And that's why it's going to fall against A2 Heroes, because it has bad directors at the helm. It has bad producers at the helm. It has bad planning at the helm. It has bad writing at the helm. James Gunn is culpable. James Gunn and Peter Safran are culpable, equally culpable, for the failure of this $300 million project. Guys, the money that they failed with is the money that we win with. Like, if we make $300 million with A2 Heroes, we would consider that a win. They spent $300 million just to be a box office bomb. If A2 Heroes, comic book, TV shows, series, movies, whatever, games, figurines, all that, if like the whole pipeline of A2 Heroes actually makes $300 million, the money they spent just to make this movie, it would be a massive success. Obsession just made like what, $400 million off of a less than $1 million project, less than $1 million movie, less than $1 million production. They made $400 million. Guys, if we can spend less than $1 million, oh my god, and make multiples of that, I think A2 Heroes can do that. It's an actual authentic huge world that has all the things in place. And while I said, oh, you can change it and be creative and do this in a previous video, I think if you just take it from the comic book to the TV screen in the form of a episodic show, and just do what is on the comic book, just do exactly what is on the comic book, don't change or swap anything around, just hire good voice actors and artists and things like that, and animators, you would instantly hit a cultural classic. You can do that in the next 2 to 4 years. And 2 to 4 years after that, you can make a movie. 2 to 4 years after that, you can make a book. 2 to 4 years after that, you can make your own cinematic universe. In 10 years, you could have, I'm dreaming here now, but you could in 10 years have like an A2 Heroes cinematic universe, because when people love stuff in the modern age, they support it. And you can go from just being a no-name backwater producer to like a frontline top name producer. So thanks for joining me on this video, guys. That was incredible. I want to make more videos about A2 Heroes and modern day movies and culture, and really bring value to you on why I love A2 Heroes, why I think you should support it, why I think you should go to the website and check it out yourself and see all the characters, because it's clear that in the times we live in right now, a movie like Supergirl bombing to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars just shows how desperate people are. It shows how desperate people are for good and authentic storytelling. It shows how much people are tired of this sick and twisted shit, and they just want to have their good stories back. And A2 Heroes is here to bring that back. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'm going to do another video soon. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll take it from here.